forgiveness, and the relationship you have with yourself. Why is this important for somebody learning to thrive? Isn't it just a religious thing? Well, actually, it's not. It's very important when it comes to retaining our power and having and maintaining a good view of ourselves, our self-esteem. When people hear the word forgiveness, they often think about forgiving somebody else rather than forgiving themselves. But for a lot of people who struggle with anxiety, OCD, depression, emetophobia even, especially perfectionism, the person they often need to forgive the most is themselves. What we see with these types of mental health issues is a lot of self-contempt, self-shaming, guilt, maybe some embarrassment, a lot of should statements, a lot of I must statements, and sometimes living life through other people's lenses. Many sufferers can forgive other people, but not themselves. They find it easy to make allowances for other people, yet they carry around years of self-criticism, self-judgment, and bucket loads of shame. Every mistake feels like evidence for failure and not being good enough. Every setback becomes evidence that they're weaker than they should be, that they haven't achieved as much as they should have. When it comes to themselves, they hold themselves to impossible standards. Every difficult emotion is evidence that there must be something wrong with themselves. Over time, this creates a relationship characterized by self-contempt rather than grace and self-forgiveness. There can be no self-respect in a relationship like this. Every single person that has consulted with me for a mental health issue or limitation has had a high level of perfectionism. Research suggests that individuals who report higher levels of self-forgiveness experience lower levels of hopelessness and depression. And this makes so much sense. Hopelessness develops when a person believes that there's nothing they can do to change their situation or themselves. They can't improve. They can't recover. But self-forgiveness challenges that belief. It sounds like I made a mistake. I had a setback. Rather than I am the mistake. I am the problem. This distinction changes everything. Forgiveness for self requires 3 things. First, honest acknowledgement. If we've genuinely made some kind of mistake, we have to be willing to acknowledge it rather than deny it or sweep it under the rug. And this requires a level of self-esteem. Second, responsibility. We need to accept responsibility and ownership over our actions without condemning ourselves as human beings. Thirdly, self-acceptance. We need to recognize that our worth as a human being, as a person, our identity, is separate from our behavior. We're all growing. We're all learning. It's okay to make mistakes. It means you're a human, actually. We're not robots. We can actually be displeased or dislike what we did without coming to the conclusion that we are fundamentally flawed. Even if it's something we've struggled with for a long time, it doesn't mean you're stuck. It doesn't mean that's who you are. It doesn't make you a bad person. A lot of people struggle because they confuse accountability with self-punishment, which is inherently not good for our self-esteem. If we're growing to build our self-esteem, self-punishment is going to lower it. And we actually need that to overcome mental health limitations. Sometimes this is why people get stuck into a loop. They believe that beating themselves up and driving themselves harder is going to make them more productive or stop the behavior that they dislike in the first place, which is not true. Somehow they think that that means that they care a lot. In reality, self-criticism rarely creates the growth that we are looking for. It actually creates anxiety, avoidance, shame, and sometimes a feeling of paralysis and lack of motivation and overwhelm. Your inner voice might become harsh and hostile, unforgiving, and you're replaying all the perceived errors again and again like a loop. The result of this is not improvement, but exhaustion. Healthy forgiveness does not remove accountability. It removes self-contempt. A person can learn from an experience without becoming defined by it. Shame moves to responsibility, from helplessness to power. Would you speak to somebody else you love the way you're speaking to yourself? You're going to learn how to cultivate a kind, helpful, gracious inner voice, which is key to reducing your perfectionistic thinking, thereby reducing social anxiety as well and increasing our self-esteem. True forgiveness restores self-respect. When self-respect grows, emotional resilience can come alongside and grow as well. Self-forgiveness is a very thrivey thing. Listen to your inner voice. You don't have to catch every unhelpful thought, but throughout the day, start listening and amending them. If it's not helpful, just throw it out. or challenge it, but don't let it live there. Don't let it occupy space in your mind. Only going to hold us back.